Good morning. I hereby call to order this 13th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2016 and ask that you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes for the meeting of June 30th, and I recognize Vice Chairman Place as the editor of the minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. I've reviewed the minutes of the June 30, 2016 public meeting and move that they be approved as submitted.
Is there a second? Motion by Commissioner Vice Chairman Place, second by Commissioner Sweet. Any discussion or editing on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. I'm going to call up our Director of the Office of Special Assistance, Cheryl Walker-Davis, to first give us an introduction of a special guest she has here today, and then lead us through the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. I'd just like to introduce initially Ms. Jacqueline Kakavich. She is a rising sophomore at Gettysburg College, completing a one-week internship here at the Public Utility Commission. Jackie?
Welcome.
May it please this honorable commission, on behalf of your various offices and bureaus, we present for your consideration and disposition the following agenda items, commencing this morning with matters on behalf of the Bureau of Consumer Services. It is recommended that the commission adopt the first recommendation there appearing with regard to the adoption of a final order involving the PECO Energy Company's 2016 to 2018 Universal Service and Energy Conservation Plan, noting the statement of Vice Chairman Place.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Commissioner Coleman. Under discussion, I would recognize Vice Chairman Place.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary, I request that my statement be entered into the record as if I've read it in its entirety. Before the Commission is the final order of the proposed 2016-2018 Universal Service and Energy Conservation Plan for PECO Energy Company. Among other changes, this order directs PECO to meet with Commission staff within 60 days of the filing of its revised USECP to discuss the overall state of its low-income usage reduction programs and to develop a plan of corrective action to address the concerns raised in the external audit evaluation by the Applied Public Policy Research Institute for Study and Evaluation and this order. Following these discussions, BCS is directed to provide a recommendation to the Commission within 30 days of the meeting regarding any necessity of further action on this aspect of its filing. These meetings are being driven by the results of both the Penn State University and Apprise studies that estimate PECO's average savings from gas heating jobs for the period 2011 through 2014 was only 5.5% and 5.9% respectively, compared to Natural Gas Distribution Company industry average of 16.6% over the same period. Average gas heating job savings were even less over the last 3 years of this historic period. Further analysis indicates that PECO has been spending less than other NGDCs on gas heating jobs and that the cost percentage of more comprehensive measures, such as air sealing and insulation measures, has been shrinking. Given these findings, I encourage PECO to work closely with BCS to improve the efficiency of these programs, to ensure that our LIER expenditures are working to improve the affordability of natural gas service to low-income and all other residential customers. I would also like to call attention to the potential cost issues associated with PECO's Hardship Fund program, the Matching Energy Assistance Fund. As indicated in this order, PECO's MEAF is designed to provide an estimated $500,000 in emergency grants to eligible customers who are in termination status or without electric gas service. However, the cost of administrating this program is projected to exceed $700,000 in 2017. I encourage the parties to address the relative cost of administrating this program versus the program's benefits as soon as possible and at a minimum by the next base rate case. I also wish to express my appreciation for the hard work of our Bureau of Consumer Services for identifying these important cost-benefit issues regarding PECO's USECP. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Place, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
It is recommended that the Commission adopt the Bureau of Consumer Services proposed tentative order in the proceeding involving the Duquesne Light Company's 2017 to 2019 Universal Service and Energy Conservation Plan.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. You see how I just wait for them to figure it out? They'll figure it out.
We'll get along.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning now to matters presented on behalf of the Office of Special Assistants, it is recommended in omnibus fashion that the Commission adopt the recommendations commencing with that in the proceeding involving the formal complaint of Green Hills Manor and the Heritage of Green Hills versus UGI Energy Services LLC, continuing with the remaining item on page 2, and concluding with the first item at the top of page 3 pertaining to the petition of the Borough of Cornwall for a declaratory order.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Commissioner Sweet. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
With regard to the matter involving the formal complaint of James S. Cashmer versus PPL Electric Utilities Corporation, there is the motion of Vice Chairman Place as well as the joint statement of Commissioners Coleman and Powelson.
Do I have a motion to call up this matter for consideration?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Commissioner Sweet. On discussion, I will call on Vice Chairman Place for his motion.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary, I request that my motion be entered into the record as if I had read it in its entirety. Before the Commission for consideration and disposition are the exceptions of PPL Electric Utilities Corporation filed on December 8, 2015, to the initial decision of the Administrative Law Judge in the above captioned proceeding. A.J. Chiskis sustained the complaint of James S. Cashmer and imposed a civil penalty of $500 for certain violations. Mr. Cashmer filed a formal complaint against PPL alleging that the company threatened to terminate his service to his second home on or after November 19, 2014. On November 15, 2014, the complainant found the company's November 13, 2014 termination notice on the door of his second home. The complainant stated that he has owned the property since 1983 and was current on his electric bills as his account is on automatic payment. Mr. Cashmer also explained that his contact information included his phone number, home address, and email address were also current with the company, and that PPL could have used this information to alert him to the pending termination. The complainant called PPL the next available business day to determine why the termination notice was placed on his property. PPL explained on the record that a third party with an outstanding balance of over $1,800 on her account requested electric service at the complainant's address. PPL indicated that it was unaware that the third party did not reside at the service address. The complainant verified that he did not know the person. Also, the company indicated that they had not encountered the situation previously. The ALJ found that the record evidence supports a finding that PPL violated Section 1406 of the Public Utility Code and Section 56.93 of the Commission's regulations. I concur with the ALJ's analysis and determination that PPL violated the Public Utility Code and the Commission's regulations. I also agree with the ALJ's finding concerning the appropriate civil penalty amount in this case. I believe that the actions of the company in this matter were unreasonable under Section 1501 of the Public Utility Code when PPL initiated service of Mr. Cashmer's address on behalf of a third party who did not own or reside at the property. The company's actions also were unreasonable considering that Mr. Cashmer had PPL service at his residence for many years, had a good payment history, and includes automatic bill payment, and did not request a disconnection of service at his property. Further, it is unclear from the record whether PPL has internal procedures to verify, in certain circumstances, whether a request for service at a particular address is correct. PPL proceeded through several steps of termination of service at Mr. Cashmer's address without verifying that the request for service as well as the termination of service were accurate. I would encourage regulated utilities to consider ways to better address requests for and termination of service so that transactions are performed in an accurate and timely manner. Therefore, I move that the exceptions filed by PPL Electric Utilities Corporation to the November 8, 2015 initial decision of this docket be denied. A civil penalty of $500 be imposed on PPL Electric Utilities Corporation as set forth in this motion, and that the Office of Special Assistants prepare an opinion and order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
You have heard the motion of Vice Chairman Place. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sweet. Under discussion, I would recognize Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chairman. As indicated in Vice Chairman Place's motion this morning, this case does have some unusual circumstances surrounding it, and I won't go into those in great detail. They're further articulated in our joint statement, so I would just ask that that statement be entered into the record as though we read it in its entirety.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll be recorded as concurring in result only.
Madam Chair, I also will be concurring in result only here this morning.
On the motion then, I believe the vote is 3-2. Or concurring in the result only for the motion or the entire matter is the question. So 5-0, concurring in the result only for Commissioner Coleman and Commissioner Powson. On the matter as amended by the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Are you concurring in the
Concurring in
result
result
only?
only.
So matter passes 5-0, noting that Commissioner Coleman and Commissioner Powson are concurring in the result only. Thank you.
Continuing with the presentation of agenda items and matters on behalf of the Bureau of Technical Utility Services. It is recommended in omnibus fashion that the Commission adopt the recommendations commencing with that in the proceeding involving supplement number 79 of the Columbia Water Company pertaining to a proposal to reduce the company's Penvest surcharge, and continuing with the recommendations on pages 4, 5, and the first recommendation at the top of page 6 pertaining to PPL Electric Utilities Corporation, letter of notification for approval to rebuild certain lines in the city of Allentown and Salisbury Township, Lehigh County.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Sweet, a second by Vice Chairman Place. We're just going to throw everybody in there. Is that okay? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Continuing with the presentation of matters, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the recommendation in the proceeding involving the PPL Electric Utilities Corporation letter of notification for approval to build a new 500 kV gas insulated line in Shamokin Dam Borough, Snyder County, to interconnect a new independent power producer to the electric grid.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sweet, second by Commissioner Powson. Under discussion, I would just like to acknowledge the step forward in the development of the Hummel Station Power Plant. This commission has been very involved in this project since its inception in providing regulatory approval to assist in the construction of a natural gas pipeline for the plant. So today we're taking another step, a step to interconnect the plant to the wholesale electric grid. And I'd just like to take the opportunity to commend all those that have been involved in this project. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Again, in omnibus fashion, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the staff recommendation in the proceeding involving the City of Du Bois Bureau of Water annual increase in rates, and continuing with the remaining item on page 6, as well as all items on page 7 through and including the Columbia Water Company's request for registration of a security certificate for the issuance of a term loan in the amount of $350,000.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Vice Chairman Place. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning now to matters on behalf of the Law Bureau, again in omnibus fashion, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the Law Bureau's recommendations in the proceedings, commencing with that involving PPL Electric Utility Corporation's request to waive the regulations so as to obtain approval for the construction and reconductoring of transmission lines in Allen Township, Northampton County, and North Whitehall Township, Lehigh County, continuing with the remaining items on pages 8 and 9, then concluding with the recommendation in the proceeding involving the emergency order involving Lyft Inc.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Vice Chairman Place. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning now to matters presented on behalf of the Office of Administrative Law Judge, it is recommended that the Commission adopt ALJ Barnes and Cheskis's initial decision adopting the settlement in the proceeding involving the complaint of the Attorney General of Pennsylvania and the Office of Consumer Advocate versus Respond Power LLC, as well as the Commission's Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus Respond Power LLC, noting the statement of Commissioner Sweet.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Sweet, and I'd recognize Commissioner Sweet under discussion.
Madam Secretary, would you just enter my statement upon the record?
Thank you very much. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a brief
Commissioner Powelson.
thank you. This again represents another step forward on the part of our investigation and enforcement unit to address some of the issues associated with the polar vortex. And again, I think my colleagues and I all joined together in recognizing this $639,000 fine for false and deceptive practices. And I think it's fair to say that in Pennsylvania, with the success of our retail market, both on the gas and electric side, we all have zero tolerance for retail energy suppliers that falsify and deceive the general public. So today's action is another step forward in reminding those suppliers to work within the rules that have been set by this commission. And again, I want to commend both ALJs for their work on this case. This is an unfortunate situation, again, that we have to assess the fine of this magnitude. But again, anytime we have claims dealing with slamming and deceptive marketing practices, I think it speaks to the actions, the proactive steps that this commission has taken. Again, not that I ever want to go through the polar vortex episode again. So again, commend both the ALJ Barnes and Cheskis, along with the intervention from the Office of Attorney General, and I see our consumer advocate here, Tanya McCloskey, for your work as well in this particular case.
Thank you, Commissioner Powelson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
It is recommended that the Commission adopt ALJ Cheskis's initial decision adopting a settlement of the complaint proceeding involving the PUC's Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus Continental Communities LLC and Hickory Hills MHC LLC.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. And under discussion, I will recognize Commissioner Coleman.
Well, thank you, Chairman. This is one of those very unfortunate cases that is before us this morning. And anytime we have a case that involves a fatality with an operator at fault, I believe it warrants comments from the bench. And so that unfortunately is the case this morning. I also want to thank all the parties for arriving at a unanimous settlement this morning that amounts to a $1 million penalty against this propane system operator. This is a case where this operator should have been registered with this commission. Under Act 127, has an obligation to register with this commission, the propane system that they're operating. And that would give our gas safety folks an opportunity to get into the field and inspect the systems. This is an operator that did not register with this commission. And unfortunately, we're here this morning with a case that involves a fatality and another serious injury. I guess let this be noticed to those propane operators that have not registered with this commission, that we take this very seriously and believe that there is an obligation, a very real obligation for them to register with this commission and for our gas safety inspectors to be able to inspect their systems. So let that be warning to them this morning, but more importantly, our thoughts and prayers to the family and the victims that were involved in this tragic propane event. Thank you, Chairman.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chairman, I'd also like to associate myself with Commissioner Coleman's statement on this serious matter. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
It is recommended that the Commission adopt ALJ Colwell's recommended decision approving the settlement of the proceeding involving the application of Pike County Light and Power Company, Corning Natural Gas Holding Corporation, and Orange and Rockland Utilities, Inc. for transfer of ownership of Pike County Light and Power Company to Corning Natural Gas Holding Corporation, noting the statement of Commissioner Sweet.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
I hear Commissioner. We have a motion by Commissioner Powelson and a second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? Under discussion, I will recognize Commissioner Sweet.
Again, if Madam Secretary, if you would enter my statement on the record.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
It is recommended that the Commission adopt ALJ Heap's initial decision dismissing the complaint in the proceeding involving Tillman S. Tomlin versus Pico Energy Company.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Powelson and second by Vice Chairman Place. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, we'll take the next two cases in tandem. It is recommended that the Commission adopt both ALJ Watson's recommended decision approving the settlement in the proceeding involving the People's TWP LLC 1307F proposed changes in the recovery of purchased gas costs, as well as the recommendation of ALJ Watson, his recommended decision approving the settlement of the proceeding involving the People's Natural Gas Company LLC and People's Natural Gas Company LLC Equitable Division, noting the statement of Vice Chairman Place with regard to both of these proceedings.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Commissioner Coleman. Under discussion, I would recognize Vice Chairman Place.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary, I request that my combined statement be entered into the record as if I'd read it in its entirety. Before the Commission are two joint petitions for settlement of the 2016 purchased gas cost filings of People's Natural Gas Company, LLC, acting on behalf of its People's Division and its Equitable Division and the People's TWC, LLC, pursuant to Section 1307F of the Public Utility Code. As part of the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement's review of these two findings, it was established that total lost and unaccounted for percentages have been increasing for all of the companies. Even though the companies have met the maximum LAUF requirements established for a distribution component of their systems in accordance with the Commission's regulation, I remain concerned about the overall system LAUF, which includes losses from other system components such as transmission, storage, and gathering. I&E is to be commended for drawing attention to this trend of increasing total system LAUF. Such increases impact PGC customers since LAUF costs are embedded in PGC rates or are reflected in increased natural gas supplier fuel retention rates that are ultimately paid for by shopping customers. I encourage the parties to continue to monitor total system LAUF and provide this information to the Commission to help guide our future decision-making in these PGC filings. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Powelson.
thank you. First, I want to commend Vice Chairman Place for calling attention to this issue of lost and unaccounted for gas. But I think it's important to mention here this morning, if you hearken back to the approval of the acquisition of Dominion Gas, you'll notice that this system was a struggling system. And without the efforts of Steel River Partners and the recent acquisition of EQT, another system that has suffered from lack of investment in their distribution system, that the current operator, in my view, has done a remarkable job through their long-term infrastructure plan that has been filed with this commission to aggressively get at the replacement of cast iron bare steel pipe in the greater Pittsburgh region. So I just want to recognize that, not that we want to alarm anybody by this lost and unaccounted for gas percentage that was brought out by our investigation enforcement team, but to recognize, again, in terms of the goodwill and the demonstrated track record of the current operator to aggressively get at the replacement of this, we'll call it leaky pipe. So I just want to go on record here this morning to recognize the efforts that have been put forth by management. I understand that it is a work in progress, but the system, for the record, was a depressed system to begin with. So with that, again, I want to commend Vice Chairman Place for his statement and not to upstage that here this morning. But thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powelson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Turning now to page 12 of the public meeting agenda. With regard to ALJ Dunderdale's recommended decision approving the settlement of the proceeding involving the Columbia Gas of Pennsylvania's purchase gas cost recovery, there is the motion of Vice Chairman Place.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Under discussion, I would recognize Vice Chairman Place for his motion.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary, I would like my motion placed into the record as if I'd read it in its entirety. I wish to make just simply one administrative correction to page 1 of the recommended decision regarding the final purchase gas cost rates as identified in my motion. Therefore, I move that the joint petition for settlement be approved, the recommended decision be adopted as modified by this motion, and that the Office of Special Assistance prepare an order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
We have a motion to amend the staff recommendation. Is there a second?
Oops, sorry.
Second.
Sorry.
Second by Commissioner Powelson. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0 on the recommendation as amended by the motion. Is everyone okay with taking the previous roll call?
Yep.
Motion, the recommendation is, as amended by the motion, passes 5-0.
That does conclude the presentation of regular agenda items. Turning now to the carry-in agenda. It is recommended that the Commission adopt the Law Bureau's recommendation in the proceeding involving the petition of the American Transmission Service Systems Incorporated for a declaratory order that it is not a public utility.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner
sorry,
Powell.
I'm exhausting all my verbal statements here this
Okay, you're
morning.
still on California time.
Yes. Just for the record here this morning, I recognize that we are deferring this entity to Federal Energy Regulatory Commission regulatory oversight with one caveat. I think we all agreed at our last public meeting that this entity would still agree to be touched lightly by the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission in terms of any potential electric safety or electric reliability issues. So again, just for the record here this morning, we all, I believe, support this, but it doesn't erode our light jurisdictional touch, and I want to note that here this morning.
Well said. Thank you, Commissioner Powelson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
And now turning to the supplemental carry-in agenda. Chairman Brown, there is your motion with regard to a proceeding to evaluate the transition to a corrected non-solar Tier 1 calculation methodology.
I would turn it over to Vice Chairman Place to reside.
Thank you, Chairman.
Reside, not reside.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Chairman Brown for the purposes of her motion. Chairman Brown.
Thank you. I would ask that my motion be entered into the record in its entirety. In July, the Public Utility Commission notified all EGSs and EDCs that it discovered an error in how the non-solar Tier 1 quarterly adjustments were calculated. Subsequently, the Commission's legal and technical staff facilitated discussion among stakeholders. Some stakeholders conveyed a concern with the adverse impact of this unanticipated increase in non-solar Tier 1 AECs on their business models. Consequently, the Commission issued a secretarial letter on August 9th, which extended the true-up period for the non-solar Tier 1 adjustment obligations relevant to the 2016 AEPS compliance year. The Commission established this extension so that we could more fully explore, with input from all stakeholders, the impact of the unanticipated increase in Tier 1 requirements and pay any potential options to mitigate that impact on EGSs and EDCs. By this motion, I propose options for remedial action to consider. The principal goal of these proposals is to have a minimal effect on stakeholders while upholding the Commission's responsibility to effectively implement the AEPS Act. At the same time, the comment period prescribed in the motion should provide the opportunity for commenters to provide more remedial actions that the stakeholders deem viable to address the corrected 2016 quarterly adjustment. One course of action would be for the Commission to leverage the purchasing power and billing functionality of the EDCs to ameliorate the market effects of the miscalculation. This process would require that the Commission would require the Commission to determine for each EDC the number of adjustment AECs for procurement. The EDC would then procure these credits either through the over-the-counter spot market or a request for proposal process. The EDCs would then transfer the procured credits to all load-serving entities and recover the cost through a pre-existing non-bypassable charge. Another option is to delay the obligation to settle the adjustment amount for an appropriate time period. This would give parties more time to procure the additional AECs necessary to meet the increase in the otherwise anticipated non-solar Tier 1 obligations. I welcome comments from all interested parties on the necessity and efficacy of the above proposals. Further, I welcome comments detailing other proposals that would remedy this situation. Therefore, I move that the Law Bureau, with the assistance of the Bureau of Technical Utility Services, prepare a tentative order consistent with this motion. 2, the tentative order shall be served on the parties of the record at docket number M-2009-209-3383, including all parties served with the Commission's July 8, 2016 and August 9, 2016 secretarial letters at this same docket. The tentative order shall be served on the Office of Consumer Advocate, the Office of Small Business Advocate, and the Commission's Office of Competitive Markets Distribution List. Third, the comments shall be due within 10 days of issuance of the tentative order, with reply comments due 10 days thereafter. And last, the Law Bureau, with assistance from the Bureau of Technical Utility Services, shall review the comments and reply comments and all the information provided therein, and shall present a final order to the Commission for consideration.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Powelson. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. First, I want to commend the chairman and the chairman's office for bringing us together behind this unfortunate situation. And it's unfortunate because it is not the direct result of any error caused by our technical utility staff. And I want to note that this morning, as the chairman mentions in her motion, in light of the miscalculation of the non-solar Tier 1 alternative energy credit. Well, that miscalculation, ladies and gentlemen, was not the direct result of any work product coming out of this commission. It was the direct result of an error and admission from a third-party contractor. Unfortunately, we have to take these steps here this morning, and I commend again the chairman's leadership in putting this out for comment. But I take great pride in recognizing the work product that comes out of this commission, as we all do. This is unfortunate. As again, I'd state for the record here this morning, this is a miscalculation that has been caused by a third-party vendor, not the work product of our technical utility service organization. So I just want to note that here this morning. And again, I applaud the chairman for her efforts in seeking additional comments so we can come up with, as we always do, a flexible approach to compliance with these alternative energy credits without causing any undue burden to retail energy suppliers here in the market. Ladies and gentlemen, just by way of background, this is a $7 to $10 million exposure that cost will be borne by retail energy shopping customers. So again, I think today's effort is a step in the right direction, but I stand by what I say here today, that this situation, this miscalculation, was a direct result of a third-party contractor not doing their job, in my view.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Chairman, the gavel is yours.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Place.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, that does conclude the presentation of agenda items.
Thank you. Before we gavel out, as we always note the great work that our commission staff has done, we want to take another opportunity to note some of the great things that they have been acknowledged for and make the PUC look very well in their effort. As some of you may have heard last week, the Commission's online Smart Hearings initiative were formally recognized by Governor Wolf. Governor Wolf's Office of Transformation, Innovation, Management, and Efficiency, or GOTIME, as a major public outreach milestone for using live streaming and telecommunications technology to promote greater consumer participation in public input hearings. At an awards ceremony in Harrisburg, GOTIME recognized employees from the PUC's Office of Administrative Law Judge and Communications who suggested develop and implemented this smart hearing as a pilot program and now as an ongoing basis here in the Commission. In the Capitol Rotunda afterward, we were honored by Governor Wolf as he highlighted successfully implemented initiatives across state government for improving efficiency, reducing costs, and enhancing services. I am proud of the PUC team, their vision, their innovation, and their continued hard work in using smart hearings to make the Commission more accessible and transparent to our public utility customers. So I want to just take this opportunity to especially acknowledge those. We do have a certificate that was given from the Governor's Go Team office, and we will have that framed and hung up here at the Commission. But at this time, I don't know if all the staff is here, but I just want to call out their names for the record. And I apologize in advance if I mess up the pronunciation of the names. So the first one, of course, is a difficult name to pronounce right now. Dawn Reitenbach, I think I got that one right. If she's here, I just asked anyone to stand up that is here that I call their name. Judge Sue Caldwell, she is here. Deanna Slig. Nils Hagen Fredrickson. Fred Miles. Cindy Page. Karen Shiveria. Denise McCracken, and Lori Schomburger. So I didn't do too bad. So I just want to take the opportunity for all the commissioners up here to applaud you for all your hard work. So we thank you very much. I also want to note before we gavel out, as you know, we have a new commissioner. I think it's his second hearing today, our third hearing. It's your third public hearing that you have participated in, and we're going to have a reception for him afterwards, so we ask that everyone stay and take the opportunity to introduce yourself to Commissioner David Sweet. With that, I will adjourn the meeting.